Hi guys, this is part 4 and the final part in making a scrolling platformer game in Scratch. So in this video I'll be showing you how to put the start menu and the shop, and also add some sound effects and music. So let's get started. So first click on the start menu sprite, and then you will find 12 costumes. So we got the text, the 3 buttons, and then we got the instructions. So you could change the instruction in this costume, and then we got the back button, and we got the shop, and then we got the shop characters. So I have 5. So now click on the start menu. When green flag clicked, make a variable called player to choose our player. For all sprites, we need to set player to 1, and then make another variable called shop to check whether the shop is open for all sprites, and a variable called instructions for all sprites. We need to set shop to 0 and set instructions to 0. So this is to check whether our shop and the instruction is open. And then make a variable called delete, and then click on for this sprite only. And then we need to set delete to 0. And then click on my blocks and make a block called assets. Add an input called assets, label called start, and an input called none. And then click OK. And then, so for our start menu we have 10 assets. So we need to type 10, and we need to start from 0. And then define, so we need to make a variable called clones for all sprites, and then we need to set clones to num. We need to repeat assets, and then we need to change clone by 1, and then create clone of myself. And then grab this. When I start as a clone block, we need to go to front layer and show, and then grab this if equals. So if clone equals 1, we need to go to x 14 and y 121, and set size to 100. Switch costume to text. So this is this costume, our text, and now we need to make an animation. For that, forever we need to point in direction. Grab this plus and this ABS and change this to sin. Grab a times and place it here, and then over here. Then grab another times and another time. So sync of timer times 12 times 15 times 5 plus 90. So now this will give this animation. So let's code the others. So for that, duplicate, and if clones equals 2, we need to go to x 15 and y -1. So grab an end and place it here, duplicate, and if instructions equal 0, we need to set our size to 70, switch costume to play button, and grab this if else. So equals, change this to the 0. So if instructions and shop equals 0, then we need to show, else we need to hide. So that means if our instruction and shop is closed, then we need to show. And then grab the if else statement. So if touching mouse pointer, we need to make a size animation. For that, we need to set our size to grab a plus, a divide, and a minus. So it's size plus 70 minus size divide by 3. And then duplicate this, and if touching mouse pointer, we need to set our size to 90, so it increases the size, and else we need to set our size to our original size, which is 70. Grab the end. So if touching mouse pointer and mouse down, we need to wait until not mouse down. We need to start sound click, and then we need to broadcast a new message called start. So now if we click on the play button, it will broadcast start. So duplicate this whole thing and place this here and remove. So if clones equals 3, so which is our third clone, you need to go to x84 and y -95. Set size to 125. Switch costume to instruction button. And then we'll change the size by 155 and our original, which is 125. And then we need to remove this broadcast click. We need to go to x0, y0, set size to 100, switch costume to instructions, and then clear graphic effects and set instructions to 1. And we need to wait until instructions equals 0. Then we need to go to x84 and y -95, which is the original x and y position, and then set size to 125 and switch costume to instruction button. So what does this code do is that if we click on the instruction button, it will switch costume to this costume and then set our instruction to open, and it will wait until instruction equals 0, which means it's closed, and then again switch costume to instruction button. So we'll do the same thing for our shop. So duplicate and if clones equals 4, we need to switch costume to shop button, set size to 50, go to x -62, y -95, and change this to 70 and our original size, which is 50. And here we need to do the same thing, just switch this to shop and set shop to 1, and we need to wait until shop equals 0. Then change this x and y positions and set size to 50 and switch costume to shop button. So okay, this code also does the same thing. So now let's duplicate and code our close button. So for that we need to change if clones equals 5, set switch costume to back button, remove this set size block, and we need to go to X 188 and 127, and forever if instruction is 1 and switch this AND to a O block. So if instruction equals 1, O shop equals 1, which means if instructions is open or the shop is open, we need to show. And change this to 60 and 50. We need to remove all of this code and wait until not mouse down. We need to set both of the shop and instruction variables to 0, and else we need to hide, and we need to duplicate from here. So now we are coding the characters. So if clones equals 6, delete this go to, because in the costumes are in the correct position. We got the red runner here, the boy here, girl, the scratch cat, and Pikachu. So you could change the position where your clone needs to go from the editor, or using this go to X and Y block. So if clones equals 6, we need to switch costume to red runner and delete, and we just need if shop equals 1. So we need to show only if the shop is open. We need to change this to 110 and 100, and then we need to set our player to 1. So now let's duplicate, and we need to switch costume to the boy, and if clone equals 7, switch costume to boy, and then we need to set player to 2. So again, duplicate this whole thing, and if clone equals 8, switch costume to the girl, set player to 3, and duplicate. So if clones equals 9, we need to switch costume to the cat, scratch cat, and set player to 4, and we need to start sound meow. So if clones equals 10, which is our final clone, we need to switch costume to Pikachu. And then we need to set player to 5, start sound Pikachu. So 1 means the red runner, 2 means the boy, 3 means the girl, 4 is the scratch cat, and 5 is Pikachu. So make sure you keep this in mind. So now let's just replace those when green flag clicks for when I receive start. So click on the player sprite and remove this, and we need to when I receive start. Click on the platforms, remove from here, and when I receive start, the red runner, and when I receive start, remove this one, when I receive start, and click on the BG, when I receive start, and on the spikes, remove this when green flag click and replace with when I receive start, and click on the border, when I receive start, and when I receive start. The checkpoints, change this to when I receive start. The clouds to drag this, and when I receive start. So make sure you do all these changes and click on stage and remove this and grab this when I receive start. Switch backdrop to BG1, and when green flag click, we need to switch backdrop to menu. Okay, now we can see we got our start menu and we don't have this game. And now if we click on the play button, our game starts, but our start menu is still there. So to fix that, click on start menu and grab this when I receive start. We need to stop other scripts in this sprite and then delete this clone. So sometimes the clones won't be in the correct position in the shop. So for that, just simply drag and drop this, go to X and change it to 0, 0. And then add it on every clone. And now if you click on the shop, now you can see all are in the correct place. So our start menu works. So now I'll be showing you how to code our thumbnail. So click on thumbnail, and when green flag clicked, switch costume to costume 1. We need to reset the timer. And then we need to hide, and we need to go to X negative 480 and grab this forever. Let's make a variable called timer for all sprites, and we need to set timer to grab this plus 0.1. Timer 0.1, and when I receive start, just duplicate this thing and we need to reset timer and grab this forever, and then we need to show variable timer, and when timer is greater than timer, we need to broadcast hide variables. And then show, go to front layer and grab this repeat until we need to round and equals. So we need to round X position equals 0, and we need to change our X by grab this divide and minus. So 0 minus X position divide by 5 and set X to 0. So when I receive hide variables, we need to hide variable timer. So okay, now when we start the game, right click on this timer and select Rush Readout. So now you can see our thumbnail with this cool animation. So now I'll be showing you how to code our characters. So click on the boy sprite. When green flag clicked, we need to hide. And when I receive start forever, grab this if else statement and it equals. So if player equals 2, then we need to show and go to player. Else we need to hide and stop this script. So again, grab when I receive start, we need to make a variable called run for this sprite only, and we need to set run to 0 and grab this forever if. So if else player equals 2, then grab a if statement, and if run is greater than 15. So now you can see we got the idle and we got jump, and then we got run. So we got 15 costume for our running animation. Again, we need to set run to 0. Now grab this if statement. If key right arrow pressed, we need to point in direction 90 degrees, switch costume to, we need to join run 0 and we need to join run. So to make this work, make sure you rename your costumes to run, 0, then the running number. So if you didn't rename in this order, this won't work. And then we need to change run by 1. So duplicate, and if key left arrow pressed, point in direction negative 90 degrees. So duplicate. So if not key any pressed, then we need to switch costume to idle. So if key up arrow pressed, we need to switch costume to jump 7, else we need to hide. And now this is the script for our player. So now we need to copy these scripts to our girl. And now after copy, we click on girl and clean up blocks. And we need to, if player is equals 3, and again if player equals 3, and in this we got 20 running costumes for the girl. So if run is greater than 20, now we need to right click on the run and delete run variable and make a variable called run for this sprite only. And if run is greater than 20, set run to 0, run, change run by 1, change run by 1. So okay, and now let's copy only these two blocks for the Pikachu and Scratch Cat. And click on Scratch Cat, and if player equals 4, and click on the girl, and if up arrow press, we need to switch costume to jump 29 and switch costume to idle. So now when I receive start, just duplicate this. If player equals 4, remove this and hide. We need to grab this if key right arrow pressed, pointing direction 90 degrees, next costume, and click on my blocks, and let's make a block called change. Run tick with our run without screen refresh, change, duplicate, if key left arrow pressed, pointing direction negative 90, and if key up arrow pressed, we need to switch costume to run J1, and if not any key pressed, we need to switch costume to stand. So else we need to hide and stop this script. So make sure that stop this script for all of the other sprites as well. And now let's define this block change. So if costume number is equal to 17, we need to switch costume to run R1. So that means that if our costume number equals 17, which is the final costume of our running animation, it will switch back to the first costume of our running animation. So now click on Pikachu and clean up blocks. If player equals 5, duplicate, we need to grab the if statement. So if he right arrow pressed, we need to point in direction 90 degrees. We need to wait 0.01 second. And next costume. And duplicate, and if key left arrow pressed, we need to point in direction negative 90 degrees. Duplicate, if key up arrow pressed, we need to switch costume to Pikachu 4, else hide and stop this script. So now click on red runner, and when I receive start, in here grab if else statement, else we need to hide. So if player equals 1, if player equals 1, else stop this script. And in this forever, grab the if else. If player equals 1, else stop this script. So now click on player, and when I receive start, forever, grab the if else statement. So if our player equals 5, switch costume to 1 multiplied by 2, else the first costume. So if our player is Pikachu, it will switch costume to this, else it will switch costume to this one. So okay, now let's test our shop. So let's test the boy, and now you can see our shop works. So we got the boy, and with the running, the jumping animations. So now we could select the boys, and let's check the girl. We could select the girl, the animation works. We got the scratch cat too. And we got Pikachu too. So our Pikachu also works. So our shop works. So now let's add the sound effects and the game music. So first let's add the start menu music. For that we need to click on the start menu sprite. And when green flag clicked, set our volume to 50, and forever we need to play sound goodbye until done. So goodbye is the music, and click on checkpoints, and if touching player we need to start sound collect, and then we click on the player, we get there. So in here we need to start sound part. So it's like the dead sound. And now let's code our background music. And when I receive start, we need to make a variable called music. and we need to broadcast music. And set music to 1. And then when I receive music, we need to stop all sounds, set our volume to 50, and forever we need to play sound music until done. And then when I receive start, grab this forever if, and duplicate. We need to set music to 1, and we need to broadcast music and stop this script. So this will change our background music according to level. So just duplicate this, set our music to 2, duplicate, remove this, set music to 3, duplicate this, set music to 4, and duplicate, and just duplicate this position, set music to 5. So we got 5 music according to the different levels. So now we could hear our music. So now you can see our music works. So for now we just need to code our last set of code. So click on player, and when I receive start, grab a forever loop, if statement, and if player X is greater than 14,627, wait 5 seconds and stop all. So this would make the game over. Our red runner completed scrolling platformer, like everything worked. We got the shop, we got the start menu, the checkpoints, and everything. So this is a completed game. So if you like this video, make sure to give it a like, and if you want to get more of this from this channel, make sure to subscribe and click on the bell icon. And if you find this video useful or interesting, make sure to share it with your friends. So see you with another awesome Scratch tutorial.